In the last video, we made a change to the move method of GameBoard so that a single move consists of a starting location and an ending location rather than just a single place where the user clicked. The problem is our controller class that actually interacts with the user and handles user requests doesn't give our GameBoard that information. So let's head on over to RunGraphicalGame. Here inside mouse released, this, oops, yours is mouse clicked. Here inside mouse clicked, this method runs every single time the user clicks anywhere. But you see that when we actually tell the GameBoard to move, we only give it a row and a column where they clicked. And we need to tell it a starting location and an ending location. Let me just briefly review how these three lines of code work because I think they're going to be relevant. The display is the view class. And we're asking the display to tell us the grid location at the particular mouse coordinates where our mouse clicked. The pixel coordinates go from 0 to, I think, 800, but the grid locations only go from like 0 to 5 or 0 to 10. So it's a different coordinate system. And so the view here is converting between those two coordinate systems to tell us the location in the two-dimensional array, which corresponds visually to the mouse location. Once we have saved that object, we're asking the object for the row and the column, and those are the variables we're giving to the move method. The problem, as we saw a minute ago, is that that's not enough information for move yet. We actually need the user to click twice. The first time they click, we need to store the location as the starting location where they want to move from. And then the second time they click, we want to save that location as the target location, which is where they want to move to. In other words, eventually we want to be able to do something like this. Say start row, and then start column, and then target row and target column. We don't have those yet, but the next step that we're going to do is changing this RunGraphicalGame class so that it has all of those pieces. So let's head to the top of the class and add variables for everything we think we might need. I've already put them here. I've got two locations called start location and target location. And then I've got an integer called click count. This is actually more variables than you'd need, but I think this way of implementing it is going to make it conceptually clearest for you. And then if we want to, we can make it a little bit more efficient in a minute. So go ahead and add those variables to the top, then head back down here. And we can use the click counter to decide where the location should actually get stored. So the first thing we'll do after mouse clicked is run is we'll increase the click count as a way of recording. Hey, they've clicked once. Then we can use if statements. We could say if the click count is 1, then we want to save into start location. Otherwise, if the click count is 2, then we want to save into target location. And that's also where we'd want to actually make them move. Because if they've only clicked once, we don't want to tell the game to move yet. So let's start moving things around. I'm going to cut those ones, because this is me figuring out what location they actually clicked in. And let's put that here. Only now, I don't want to save into a location variable called lock. Now I already have a variable for this called start location. And there's no need for me to get out the row and column yet. So that's the only thing that needs to be inside the first part of the if statement. If they've clicked once, just save the location as the start location. Go ahead and copy that line. And here we're saying if they've clicked a second time, then let's save the location. But this time, let's save it as the target location. And here's the place where we actually make the move. So go ahead and cut the game.move method, and we'll put it here inside the if statement. But before that can work, we actually have to get out the row and column from both start location and target location. If you wanted to, you could create separate variables called start row, start call, target call here. Or you could do this. You could say start location.getRow and start location.getCall. So you just get the information you want directly inside the method call where you're running move. This is, what did I call it? Target location.getRow and target location.getCall. All I've done here is I've split the single command across lines so that it's easier to read and it doesn't go off to the right. Okay, there's one last thing that we need to do. Unless I reset the click count, they'll click once, we'll set start location. They'll click a second time, we'll set target location and then make the move. But then when they click again, click counter will be 3, and then 4, and then 5. So after they've clicked the second time and we've made the move, that's where we want to reset click count back to be 0 again so that we'll start the whole cycle over. So now when you run the game, if I click once, it doesn't move, but then the second time it does. I click once and then twice. I click once and then twice. You could definitely start making the changes right now if you wanted to implement the game. I think one more thing is going to be nice. In my experimenting, I've discovered that it doesn't always reliably register my clicks, and I can show you how to fix that. The other thing is it would be nice in my debugging information if it gave me some indication that it recognized that I'd made my first click and then my second click. So let's fix that one first. Inside game board, we had this debugging information. I'm going to change this. Well, let's keep this here maybe. But I'm going to copy it, and then inside RunGraphicalGame, I want to put more debug statements inside mouse clicked. So the moment that we click, I want it to display you clicked at. And then we'll say start location.getRow and start location.getCall. So that way, the moment I click, we'll be able to see it. And then I'll copy that and I'll paste it right here in target as well. So you clicked at, only now we're going to say target location.get. Wow, this is full of errors. .getRow and target location.getCall down there. Okay, let's make the other change before we test it. So the other change is to change this from mouse clicked to mouse released. Now the method won't run until you let go of the mouse after having pressed it down. And that happens naturally when you click, because the process of clicking is pressing it down and then releasing it. But I've found that this registers more reliably than the actual mouse clicked method. So let's run it one more time. And as soon as I hold the mouse down and then let go, it says you clicked at 0, 2. And now I press it down and then I release it over here and it says you clicked at 2, 4. And then this is interesting. I think we should move the debugging information down to the next line because it's all in one line, which is a little bit weird. So rather than print, let's make this one print line. All right, I think those are all the changes you need. If you want to know how to change the text game to incorporate all of these changes, come back in the next video and you can see that as well.